at Chicago Now. My goodness, winter wonderland here in Chicago.
Yes, Caitlin, this seemed to take even our intrepid weather team, even them off guard this morning with like just how quick it hit this morning.
And how hard it hit.
Yeah.
So we were expecting scattered light snow this morning. Around 6:30, I was checking in on the radar, and snow was coming down heavy in Wisconsin. And then that band of heavy snow shifted through Chicago and into northwest Indiana. We had dropping visibilities down to a couple of blocks at times, I was reading. Also, wind gusting to 50 miles per hour plus. Quick accumulation, inches on the ground, especially north of the city. Temperatures now are in the 20s. We started in the upper 30s, low 40s at midnight. So we have had a drastic change of events. And I do think a lot of you probably woke up and looked out the window and said, what
no thanks.
is happening here?
January is going to January here in
for
Chicago.
The Bears game, it's really going to January.
Which could be nice.
For those LA folks.
Exactly. Because we got the Rams coming to town. We got this like high octane offense that's used to warmer temps.
Yeah, sure.
Although Matthew Stafford, he did spend some time in Detroit, but I feel good about that aspect of the game.
It's probably a good thing, yeah.
This is like the second time this season where the game on Sunday could be one of the coldest ever at Soldier Field.
And coming up, we're going to be talking about the ticket prices and how this may be a good thing too, impacting how expensive or how
people aren't paying as much. What is it looking like on Sunday then for game time? Because it's at 5:30 is kickoff.
Okay, so the high is going to be 18. Lows that night are going to be in the single digits. So by 5, I would expect that temperatures are going to be in the mid-teens, but it's probably going to feel like the low single digits, if not 0.
Do you have an indication yet on the wind factor?
No indication on the wind factor, but I will say there is a chance for some snow.
Okay.
So it's really going to be, it might be a little treacherous.
Favor the Bears. It's going to favor the Bears.
Favor the Bears and just have a couple beers before the Bears.
There you go.
And feeling great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are talking about a lot of trenders during this show, talking about how people are going analog in 2026, this new trend where we're starting to, you know, like so.
Were you here for the show? We talked about the analog bag.
Yeah, and I said it was boring.
You were so anti. This is basically it's a viral thing where some folks are getting a bag full of what were some of the items, like a sewing kit, some way to keep using our hands without being on a screen.
Needle and thread. What is that called when you have like the knitting,
yes.
Coloring,
so the crocheting,
painting, small paint kits. Those are coming in popular.
I suggested the Rubik's Cube.
The Rubik's Cube. I suggested the Bop It. Remember?
The Bop It, yeah, which is like this big.
Yeah, pull that thing out. No, I just the phone. There's so many things on this phone that you can do.
It does keep you entertained.
So entertained. So many things you could accomplish on your phone. You could budget. You could bank on your phone. You know, I don't see the point, but we're going to dig into that a little bit. And we're also talking about this chicken mystery, eh?
This is so funny, and I love it because you described it as a happy accident.
Yeah. This is what Bob Ross says.
Happy
accident.
Yeah, happy accident. So here's what happened. This is a very 2025, 2026 kind of story. Everyone's using DoorDash these days. So a local Reddit user goes to DoorDash to order coffee, some coffee, and instead of coffee, he got a whole meal delivered, and it turned out to be fried chicken. And so evidently this Reddit user, angry at first not to have the coffee, you know, on a cold winter's day, but said, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and eat this chicken dinner.
Yeah.
And apparently the chicken was so good, the user described it as, quote, the most delicious fried chicken I have ever tasted. It's crunchy, salty, has a lime kind of flavor to it with just a zing of something Cajun at the end.
I love that.
That's a great, what a refined palate.
Delicious.
All right, so.
Can I make a couple comments before we dig in?
Go for it, yeah.
If you are in the mood for a coffee, Anthony, you want a latte. You're going to order a caramel latte, okay? That's where your taste palette is at in the moment. And then you get fried chicken delivered. Would you really be able to
switch
90-degree turn? Yeah, 90-degree switch, 180, I should say, and eat some chicken and enjoy it?
That's a very good question. I can't answer that. I've never been in that position before.
Predicament? I mean, I can tell you I wouldn't. I would not want the chicken if I wanted a coffee, but anyways, I digress.
All right, so here we go. We got the visual going. So this user loved the chicken so much that, and there was nothing, as you can see the packaging there, it was just a generic thank you bag and that kind of generic red and white container, paper container for the product. So this user had no idea where this amazing chicken came from. So decided to reach back out to Reddit to figure this out. They called it the Great Chicago Fried Chicken Mystery of 2026. The parameters, what we know, available on Uber Eats, delivered near Halstead, Milwaukee, and Grand. It's a great intersection, by the way. Flavor, salty, citrus, bit of Cajun aftertaste, and then fry, crispy, not fully battered, more like thick seasoning. Okay, so those are some pretty specific standards. So then Reddit responded with some comments to try to help this user narrow down where this chicken came from by the appearance of it. So the 3 suggestions for this user to go to just try for his or herself, Harold's, Sharks, and Captain Hook's. Okay, the first place that the Reddit user went was Harold's Chicken Shack in West Loop. There it was, 1 for 1. You know,
Here, another thing, okay?
mystery solved.
It's a great story.
And new fan gained. And this is, by the way, I'm happy to. Have you ever had Harold's?
No, is it delicious?
Yes.
Did he describe it well?
To my recollection, yes.
Okay.
I've only had it once. It was I was in the field on a story, and they're everywhere around Chicago. It's amazing. This is the West Loop location. So there we go. Free advertisement for Harold's Chicken. It kind of makes me hungry. And I hear what you're saying about when your mind is tuned to a certain taste category, sweet or savory, whatever. I think I could pivot there.
What about
that
it being
product?
sus? That it's just random chicken on your front porch that you're going to dive into. You don't know where it came from.
I'd still do it.
Yesterday, when I was at home, I almost made a post on social media about, but I didn't because I don't know how many, this wouldn't really probably apply to many people, but after you have a stomach bug, literally nothing looks good. And I had this chicken in my fridge that I was supposed to make. And I'm like, there's no shot that this chicken will be consumed before it expires. It's not happening. Chicken is a little bit, you know.
No, you gotta strike while the iron's hot with chicken.
Yeah.
And then LOs what's your policy on fridge leftovers?
2 days.
2 days. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Then you got to trash it.
Yeah. Because it's even if it's still edible and won't get you sick, it's not appetizing after a couple days. It's
and
just
also,
not.
you just don't want to risk it.
No.
You don't want to
Better safe than sorry. Yeah.
But this sounds
when in doubt,
delicious.
throw it out.
When in doubt,
That's what
I wonder
my
if
mom
this
always
person
says.
ever got their coffee. Maybe they got a refund from the Uber Eats. You would think that they would reach out to the person who delivered it, you know? Like, you know
I
how
want some
sometimes you can
Harold's
send
now.
messages?
You know what? Your question to me about, when your brain is tuned in to a certain thing, I have a knack for planting seeds with my spouse early in the day. Like, it could be anything. I could be like, you know what I really feel like today is soup in a bread bowl. Yeah. And then she'll think about, she'll consider it. And then all of a sudden, it becomes a thing where it's got to be soup in a bread, or like I need like the perfect burger today. It's just what I'm feeling. Or one time I said, you know what I need today? It's cold out. I want a Guinness. I want a Guinness draft. And then it just it's you know what I'm saying?
I know
like
exactly
you plant the seed and it just
the brain does the work. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to pivot away from that for me.
Yeah,
like
from sweet to savory.
Yeah, or if you want like a crispy salad, for example, not much else can satisfy that craving other than a crispy
crunch.
Salad.
Yeah.
It's not like you can be like, I'll have a burger and fries instead. No, you want that cucumber and lettuce. My mouth is watering just talking about it, you know?
Worst experience I've ever had in this category. Ooh. This was on my transatlantic bike trip. My friend and I, we rode our bicycles across
They were young
America.
chaps.
This was young. And you burned so many calories that you were absolutely famished by the end of the day.
Okay.
We were in, I want to say California. By this point, we had biked all day and prepared this amazing hot, we were camping.
Beans and rice.
Beans and rice. It was something like that in that category, right? Hot, savory, stick to your ribs kind of meal, tons of calories. The guy I was riding with, his best friend, great guy. Sorry, I got to tell the story, Schwartzy. But dropped the entire thing into, like, just in the dirt. The pot just slipped, and so we had to pivot from all of a sudden getting this hot, perfect meal to eating
Granola bars.
Granola bars.
Stop. Did you cry? Were you pissed?
It was heartbreaking because I couldn't be mad at him because he was as sad. It was almost sad. But there was no way. We like looked at it for a second. Is there a way to salvage this? There was just not even a way to salvage even a couple bites because it was a dirt.
Yeah.
It was spilled in the dirt. So it's not like, and it was
I get it.
like a stew, so you can't just like kind of take some of it without. So it was just one of those.
You remember?
I've never had to pivot so quickly. and then imagine how hungry we were too. So it was literally like, and now we're eating granola bars.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah. All right. Bears ticket prices, Caitlin.
Let's talk about it.
Your forecast, I think, influenced this.
No surprise.
For
really.
Rams Bears. Go.
Yeah, it's going to be. Unless you're a huge fan, this might not be worth it for you to be there in person when you can watch it from the comfort of your home. So tickets for Sunday's game against the LA Rams are generating a lot less demand than last Saturday's game against the Packers. I'm wondering if this is too because the Packers are close. So the Packers fans are probably competing for those tickets. Still, the cheapest seat for the game costs around $500. Ticketing companies say they were hoping for the Eagles to win since they expected more demand if they were to play the Bears.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
The most expensive ticket for the game that has been sold went for $2,600.
Which is really not that much for the most expensive one sold. I'm guessing this is most expensive sold since
the public.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the private, whatever. So the weather outside playing a role. Not a lot of people in LA are going to want to fly to Chicago to sit outside. If the forecast holds true, Sunday's night's game will be among the coldest ever played at Soldier Field. Game's been played there since 1926. So for the Bears-Packers game, a lot of people got crazy discounted tickets by waiting to buy them until kickoff or after kickoff. I'm one of those fair weather fans. I mean, I know they usually say that if your team's good, then you're but I'm talking about literal weather. Like
actual weather.
Correct. I wouldn't want to go to a sporting event unless the conditions were perfect to be outside.
I get it.
And enjoy it.
I get that.
What about you, Anthony? Would you go?
I would, depending on okay, so that game the other week, I can't remember who we were playing, that was going to be like 0 degrees. Remember we had all those clips afterwards where the beer froze
and the ketchup couldn't come out.
Yeah, the ketchup couldn't come out. We actually interviewed that guy.
Yeah.
I would find it just too hard to enjoy the game in a situation like that. It'd have to be a huge stakes game. I had friends get electric jackets. They both got electric jackets.
How much did those bad boys
I don't know.
cost?
I don't know how much that cost, but yeah, I'm kind of with you on that side.
Yeah,
things.
$500 for a ticket. I mean, we were talking earlier about the Indiana game.
Oh
and
yeah,
how
20-something thousand for the most expensive.
Yeah,
this is for
and the
Miami
cheapest,
game.
$4,000, just about, just under.
Exactly. I will say that if it is the case that fewer LA fans want to brave the cold, I think there's so much truth to people's blood thinning out. I had a good friend, also from Indiana. I'm telling a lot of Indiana stories today, where he grew up in Indianapolis. This guy. Similar-ish. I mean, their winters aren't as bad as ours up here in Chicago, but you know, he's used to cold winter, right? He's a Midwest guy. Moved to LA right after school, spent years out there doing the acting thing. He visited me in Chicago, and we were on the L platform.
Is it Brad Pitt? I'm kidding.
I would love, yeah. No, you would know if I went to college with Brad Pitt. So I just remember we were on an L platform. We had gone out. I had a light jacket. This is in the winter, but there's some winter days where if you're out, this is when you're younger, you don't want to have a big bulky coat. So you just kind of maybe wear a sweater or something like that and just suck it up for the 15 minutes you're actually outside. This guy, I mean, his blood vanished in terms of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's
like, we got to go to great.
Exactly. And I was like, I could barely, it was like nothing for me to be outside. So I do think there's truth there. Your blood thickens.
Yeah. When we moved to Chicago, my husband, he spent most of his life in Tennessee. He was like, I don't need a new coat. He had one of those thin, when you buy a jacket and it comes with like the underlayer jacket?
Yeah.
He had one of those, like a little puffer coat kind of, and I was like, no, you need a coat. You need it. We live
Like a
downtown.
legit
We were
one.
walking to
Right.
work, and he's like, I'm fine. The first winter that came, he was like, I need a
Gotta
coat.
upgrade.
We got to go to Eddie Bauer and get a good thick jacket. What is that?
Chicago
company
will do that to you.
What is
It's
the Goose Company?
Goose, Canada Goose.
Oh, okay. I said Grey Goose.
Where the-
It's a Grey Goose. Get you
That'll
a Grey
also
Goose.
keep you. That'll also keep you
Yeah.
warm. But those Canada Goose,
They're pricey.
they're pricey.
They're supposed to be the best, though, right? Like to keep you the warmest.
I found one at TJ Maxx
Oh,
in my size,
Ah.
and it was like less than. I think they're well into the 4 digits. This one, I want to say it was like $700 around
Okay.
there, but it was my size, so I picked it up because I was like, all
bought
right.
it. Does it work
yeah,
better than
no,
any jacket you've
for
ever
sure.
had?
I mean, you still need. I will say, I don't think it's like the top Fortress model,
Oh.
but it does the job. I will say it helps when you have like a wool sweater underneath and you layer up.
okay.
Got to layer up.
So you got to buy bigger.
And then I'm a big Long Johns fan too.
Long Johns.
Yeah, always.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this. I'm trying to remember the tips. If you guys are going to the game this weekend, that we had that guest on that said he stayed warm. I think he did the same thing. He layered it up, so he had the long johns on, and then I think he said he had fleece-lined jeans.
Yes.
And then he had snow pants. And then as well, I didn't know this. Anthony taught me this. You can buy little packets to warm your feet.
Yeah.
Stick those bad boys in your boots.
Little toe warmers.
And then hand warmers, obviously.
Yes, that's a must.
But don't skip the snow pants. This isn't supposed to be a cute event. Just dress warm.
Dress warm.
I wonder if we'll see any Bears
And
fans
go
with their
Bears.
shirts on.
You know we will.
It's going to be so cold.
All right. We got to tell, this is neighborly rivalry gone, I don't know, right for us because we get to tell this story.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone out there has had a little tension with a neighbor. This is another Reddit special. All right. Now, the characters here involve the neighbor who's being called out. His name is Gary. This guy named Gary reported the Reddit user who posted this to their HOA because of this little nitpick. The garbage cans were visible from the street on a non-trash day. Okay, so Gary reports this Reddit user to the city and he gets a $50 fine. Okay. This user couldn't handle that and so decided to take petty to a new level here. And this is the lengths he went to get back at this guy for telling on him. Set their alarm for 3 a.m. every Wednesday night. Went outside in dark clothes to move Gary's trash cans just slightly, 6 inches to the left. So this happened for months. Would just every night move Gary's trash cans. It got to the point, everybody, that Gary was disturbed by this. He thought there was, I don't know, what do you
He
call
was
it,
scared.
a poltergeist
Yeah.
or something. Gary decides to install a camera to figure out what's going on with his trash cans. Last summer, Gary's wife approached the Reddit poster's wife, asking if they had noticed anything strange in the neighborhood, because his objects are just moving in the middle of the night. Wife said no. Fast forward to this past October, Gary, so disturbed by this whole thing, apparently he's a religious man, invites a priest over to have the house blessed and to apparently have the drive alleyway blessed by a priest because he was so disturbed that something seemed to be happening with his garbage cans overnight. So at this point, the Reddit poster who's getting revenge on this guy says they almost felt bad. Almost, but not quite. And has never said anything. So now, apparently, Gary brings the garbage cans inside the garage to protect them from being moved away. And now, whoever this Reddit person is doesn't have access to Gary's garbage cans and has moved on to another object, and that is Gary's welcome mat, which he moves to this day slightly, a couple inches, every day.
Gary sounds like a control freak. I wouldn't notice if you moved my garbage cans 5 feet. 6 inches?
The Reddit user also might have a couple issues as well.
Sounds like
this is a long way to go.
Yeah.
To get
Instead of saying,
revenge.
like, hey man, that wasn't cool, and
That one.
put a kibosh on it.
You've had. Hey, listen, Caitlin, you are not without neighborhood tension.
You guys, can I tell you what Anthony told me today? He said, if you have issues with 3 people around you, guess who's the a-hole?
Every day, here's the reason I said it seems like every week Caitlin's got a new issue with a neighbor. And so I brought up that cliche. If you meet 3, we'll call them unpleasant people in a day, the old saying goes, you're the unpleasant person. So that was all I was bringing to our pre-show meeting.
Okay, so yesterday, this happened just yesterday. I'm kind of airing my dirty laundry here. My mama bear came out a little bit because in my neighborhood, we have a path behind our house, and throughout the summer the kids in the neighborhood would paint these rocks and set them on the path. So every time any kid goes for a walk with their family, the kids will play with the rocks that are on the path because they're fun to look at and they change. Well, we've had an issue in the past with the neighborhood that someone put poop on the rocks. This was in the summer. Well, yesterday when I was out with my kid, my 1-year-old was playing with the rocks. He doesn't like to get his hands dirty, so he went, Mom. So I looked at his hand, and it was poop, you guys, on his hand. So I fly off the handle, and
Mama
it's
bear
super
activated.
mad, especially because we've been dealing with so much illness.
Yeah.
And so the last thing we need is feces on my 1-year-old.
Yeah.
I was just mad. So, not proud of this. I went on the Facebook page for the neighborhood and I took a picture of his hand and I posted the picture and I said, whoever is putting poop on these rocks, I hope you're happy, you psycho. Because who would do that knowing that these kids play with these rocks? These are kids painting rocks and setting them out. Who would smear poop on these rocks on purpose? So, because they know that the kids are going to be touching it.
Is this some teenager?
That's what I'm thinking. It must be, because otherwise like I said, it wouldn't even make sense otherwise, because what is wrong with you?
So you post this on the neighborhood Facebook group.
and then immediately afterwards, I was blocked from the Facebook group for a month. And the post was deleted. But really, I was just so mad. I wrote it when I was still outside in the cold with my kids. I'm like trying to prevent my child from putting the hand on his face. And I was just so mad. But, you know, I'm speaking to parents out there. You know it doesn't take much when you're trying to protect your kids to go off. I was so mad. But, and also, like Anthony said, well, what if it was they were walking their dog? Don't let your dog poop there. Pull the dog away from the rocks. Don't let them go on the kids' stuff. I can't.
Take those bags. It could be some teenager, but end of the story is that Caitlin's now banished from the neighborhood Facebook group. So
I know.
Sorry, Caitlin. You're gonna have to maybe work your way back.
I gotta behave myself for a month. I was actually kind of glad that it was deleted because, you know, I don't want to stir up drama.
All right, we got some fun trending stories to get to right after this short break. Stay with us here on Chicago Now. Hope you're staying warm out there on this snowy Wednesday. Our dad.
Taco Bell back in the headlines, and Anthony is actually not thrilled about this one.
Well, yeah. I'm a little disappointed. Yeah,
Could be better. Okay, so Taco Bell is launching a new value menu with $3 items. That's fun. $3? Okay. So all of these 10 tasty items are under $3. It's Luxe Value Menu. It goes nationwide on January 22nd.
Caitlin, for a second.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt
sorry,
you.
yeah.
You're looking down at the carpet. Look at that. Look at the monitor there.
I could eat that. Yeah.
Just look at that.
Ooh, which one do you pick? The cheesy gordito?
Ooh, that looks like a Crunchwrap Supreme on the right.
Yes.
And that looks
Chalupa?
like the Nachos Bel Grande up there on the upper right. That in the middle there, kind of above the fire sauce, looks like a double-decker taco. And the reason that I'm not pleased about this $3 menu is because the double-decker's not on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Anyway, proceed. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No, that's all right. And I'm going to ask you about that blue drink because I feel like everybody who goes to Taco Bell gets that.
My son gets it. I've never had that. You know,
Is
we
it
talk about
Mountain
sweet and
Dew?
savory. No, it's like some kind of icy, you know.
It's like the drink to get at Taco Bell.
Electric lemonade.
Ah,
I don't know.
okay. All right. So the menu features 5 fan favorites and 5 new menu items, including a mini taco salad. That sounds good. Avocado ranch chicken stacker. Limited edition salted caramel churros. 5 more classic Taco Bell items will also be added to the menu. Ready for this? Cheesy roll up for $1.19. That's great. I could get a cheesy roll up for the kid. Oh,
there
yeah. $1? Sure. Spicy potato soft taco. Spicy potato soft taco.
Solid.
Are the potatoes in the taco, you think?
Yeah.
$1.29.
Yeah, I think I've just had that maybe once. It's not like my go-to, but yeah, solid.
Okay. All right. Cheesy bean and rice burrito, classic, for $1.49. 3 cheese chicken flatbread melt.
Never had it.
That sounds good too. $2.29. Cheesy double beef burrito for $2.79.
There you go.
I like a cheese quesadilla too. The sauce on it, so good.
For sure. Upper left-hand corner there, I believe that's the Mexican pizza. Caitlin, if you haven't tried that, that's
school lunch.
That's a good one.
It's taco on the menu for today.
You know what?
Now.
Usually we do a Taco Tuesday. It's Wednesday.
Oh.
But yeah, we usually do a Taco Tuesday at the Ponce house. So how about you guys? You guys work that into the rotation at night?
We should.
Good. It's easy.
Yeah. Every week would be good.
Okay, guys, another trender here. There is a height requirement in effect for the Super Bowl halftime show involving Bad Bunny fans. Okay, in order to be part of the Super Bowl halftime show, you got to be a certain height, and I don't know. I'm going to have you react to this, Caitlin, because screenshots of the field team application. I think this is, you know how they always bring a crowd in?
Yeah.
To make it look like it's
around
a concert.
the stage.
Yeah, they get kind of like shipped in for the halftime show and then shipped out before the third quarter starts. All right, so here we go. Screenshots of the field team application, which this year requires participants to reach between 5'7" and 6 feet tall. Okay? And this applies apparently to both men and women. And so, you know, I don't know what the average height is here in the U.S. for both genders, but I'm guessing.
Like 5'5", 5'8"?
Yeah, like I think it's 5'9" for the gents, and I'm guessing
5'4",
5'4", 5'5" for the ladies. And so, you know, for the gents, that's not going to be hard to, like, you know, make that 5'7" to 6 foot parameter. So you can't be taller than 6 feet either. But for the ladies, hey, you got to be 5'7". That's like most ladies are under 5'7".
Okay, so I have a new take on this. At first I was like, oh, this is going to be mostly dudes out there. My new take is, I bet this is a safety thing.
Why?
Because you don't want really small people out there that might get trampled on if they got too excited out there.
Is that
you know
a thing
what I mean?
about being vertically challenged? The risk of getting trampled goes up.
I don't know if there's a ton of people in a space. Do you know what I mean?
Here's here's just another little tidbit here. I don't know if this sheds light on your question, but Backlit Support, which fielded the applications on behalf of Super Bowl Productions, told USA Today in a statement, this was yesterday, that, quote, height requirements will be very important for participation on this one and will be verified through the rehearsal process.
Because what other reason would they have outside of safety?
Camera angles.
So you think it would be like shooting above their head?
Yeah.
But like how big? It's a couple inches. Like, is that really going to make a big difference?
No. Maybe if the height of the stage is a certain height. You want the crowd, like, that's a good question. I just don't know. You're thinking safety. I'm thinking it's the camera angles. They need people, and then they don't want people, someone who's like 6'6" blocking. I think it's camera angles.
You might be right, because it's not like they could be like, all right, line up shortest to tallest.
Yeah, exactly. So that way they put a range out there, and then it just looks like a full crowd. I do remember this same guy who moved to LA, really tall, 6'4", was ruled out for a lot of parts in Hollywood because he was too tall.
Oh.
You have to. He told me that one of the reasons that Tom Cruise found success. I'm the messenger here, so don't blame the messenger here. Is he was short in stature, but also had kind of a larger head, and so that works, I guess, with certain camera angles. So I'm wondering if this whole height thing is just about camera angles.
A lot of stars in Hollywood are shorter.
Have you ever heard anything about head size?
Nothing about head size. That's kind of a funny one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or was he jelly? So he was saying Tom Cruise has a big head.
I don't know. Does Tom Cruise even have a large cranium? All right, speaking of actors, there is a new queen when it comes to highest grossing actor of all time. Take it away, Caitlin.
Okay, Zoe Saldana is now the highest grossing actor of all time. Zoe, she's 47. Man, she looks great. She's the highest grossing actor of all time at the worldwide box office, according to the numbers. Films in which she stars a leading role have earned an estimated $15.47 billion. Woo! Globally, she surpassed the previous record holder, which was Scarlett Johansson, whose leading role films grossed $15.4 billion. Saldana reached this milestone largely due to Avatar, Fire and Ash, directed by James Cameron. In the film, she represents her role as Neytiri. Is that how you pronounce it? For the third time,
right?
yeah.
Neytiri? I saw the first one, that's it.
Me too.
I didn't need to go back for the second.
Okay, yeah. I guess it was still popular. It premieres in December. It already grossed $1.2 billion worldwide. So the original Avatar back in 2009 remains the highest grossing film of all time. It must have been very popular worldwide because that's quite a title. $2.9 billion, not adjusted for inflation. But its sequel, Avatar: The Way of Water, in 2022 is the third highest grossing movie ever. $2.3 billion.
So that did it. I mean, that trilogy did it.
So
I mean, for Zoe Saldana.
But the Galaxy, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Those are major movies too. Yeah, that's right.
Guardians of the Galaxy is hilarious, by the way. Love that show.
And Avengers Endgame was the second highest grossing movie of all time. So she was in on these. So she can assume the title. And I know The Rock Johnson had this title for a while. She is now Hollywood's most bankable star.
Wow.
Most bankable star. So I don't know if that directly translates to her own salary.
It should, right?
It should, but in terms of studio money, she is Hollywood's most bankable star. Congrats to Zoe.
She's picked some good ones.
Saldana. All right, we talked about dry January. Yesterday we talked about Veganuary.
Yeah.
Remember that? Well, a lot of people are going analog, wanting to go analog more these days, get off our devices. And so coming up after this break, we are going to be speaking with Dr. Suzanne Wallach. She's a psychotherapist, and she is going to be talking about this whole going analog trend and maybe how to integrate some of these tactics to boost our mental health. All right, so that is coming up after this short break. Everybody stay with us.
All right, 10:36. We recently told you about the analog bag. It's a trend happening right now, in case you haven't heard. But we're taking a deeper dive into why people are trying to unplug in the new year. It's not really a surprise, but this might be a good solution for you if that's something that you're interested in. We are talking with Dr. Suzanne Wallach. She's a psychotherapist and executive director of SoCal DBT. Thanks for joining us this morning, Suzanne.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's dive into this analog bag. Can you describe what this is?
So going analog is this kind of trend that's happening right now where people are really wanting to put their phones down and kind of take a break from electronics and concentrate on things that are more tactile. And so it kind of involves bringing back landlines is one thing that's happening, picking up real books instead of using a Kindle, playing vinyl instead of using your phone, taking mindful walks and leaving your phone at home. I think people are just tired of the constant notifications and doom scrolling.
Yeah, for sure. It can get overwhelming, and then a lot of people are starting their day off with like a 20-minute doom scroll and doing the same thing before bed. What is the impact of our addiction to screens?
Well, I think there's a lot of different impacts, but I think the one that I see the most with my patients is that it really, really affects the nervous system, and it really impacts the levels of anxiety that people have, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. No matter what position you're coming at it from, there's a lot happening right now, and people are anxious. And I think when we fall into these rabbit holes online, our anxiety goes up, our nervous system reacts to that, our central nervous system. And what we're trying to do when we put down electronics is activate the parasympathetic nervous system so that we can calm down a little bit. And so putting down these things and engaging in activities in sort of a mindful way and doing one thing at a time is just like one small way that we can do that.
Okay, so these analog bags, obviously it's trending, so I'm sure you've seen a bunch of different options of ways that you could distract yourself outside of your cell phone. Can you give us a couple good ones?
Yeah, so I think, they're actually really simple, but a lot of my Gen Z clients are really doing it, and it's really interesting to see young people feel like they're the ones that want to put their screens down and have like a better quality of life because of that. So what I'm seeing trending is, like I said, I've seen the comeback of the landline so that you don't have to look at your cell phone after work, which I find really interesting. Real books that you can actually flip through, actual journals instead of using your notes on your phone, like having a paper, taking an actual pen to paper and journaling your thoughts, or even just having like an actual planner instead of using your calendar. Going on a walk, and instead of just like speeding through your walk, taking a mindful walk and noticing the trees and the sky and the temperature and the things around you. So they're really like simple things that you can implement in your day. Another thing that I think I mentioned earlier is CDs have made a comeback. CDs and vinyl made a comeback a long time ago, but I've seen people go back to using CDs.
This is Gen Z is full of surprises here, because they're kind of behind a lot of the, we've reported that alcohol sales are like at an all-time low globally right now. So are you mostly seeing this from the younger set these days, or are boomers putting down their devices? Are millennials and Gen Xers doing the same thing, or is this kind of a Gen Z thing?
I feel like, well, I don't know many boomers that use their devices. I think it depends on the boomer. Like my dad's a boomer and he doesn't even know how to use his cell phone, so I think it depends. But I think, Gen Xers, I feel like I am a Gen Xer, and I feel like our phone has become like an appendage of our body. And it's with my Gen X clients, I think it takes a real mindful, like purposeful effort to try to do it. What's impressed me about Gen Z, as much of a bad rap as they get, is that they are very mindful about having a really healthy quality of life and having a work-life balance. And so they are on the forefront of having, a healthy life in a way. They don't drink as much. They're not on their phones as much. They don't want to work crazy hours like Gen X and millennials did. So I do see them at the forefront of this and doing this the most.
I love that. I'm wondering if Anthony and I were talking about how when we're home with our kids, we get that little dopamine hit from our phones. while we're playing with our kids. We
Yeah.
have this like pull to our cell
No
phones.
good, no
so
good.
I'm wondering too if Gen Zs, they just have more downtime and the phone has become, you know, everybody's go-to. So they're just so used to like living on their cell phone. So they're getting bored of that and moving on to
Like it's saturated.
Exactly.
They're like saturated. They're like, I just don't even want to scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's part of it, because the other thing I've noticed with Gen Z is they're not really using apps to date anymore. They're going back, which I think is a great thing,
Yeah.
to kind of how dating used to be, where you like meet people in a really natural, kind of biological way instead of meeting people online by swiping. They've kind of stopped using the apps too. And I do think they do have more time, because most of them, right, don't have kids. Like I also have a kid and I have a business, and so I have to be on my phone a little bit more. And I have to be mindful when I'm with her to put my phone down, like you're talking about. So I do think they have a little bit more time to create that. But I also think it's really interesting to see them be so mindful about it at such a young age, because I don't think that we were.
No, mindfulness was not a concept that I remember hearing about until way into adulthood. Do you think at all that this is genuinely about mental health? Because, you know, my skeptical self is always like, okay, are they just trying to do the next cool trend? Like, it's cool now to have paper books, but I really just want my phone. It's cool now to listen to vinyl or CDs, but I really just want Spotify. Is this kind of a trendy thing, or is this legitimately about mental health?
I do think it's legitimately about mental health, because I will tell you, like my clients that do it, and I've started doing it, but especially with my patients, what I notice is that like stress levels and like research is starting to show, because they are doing research on the effects of like cell phones and being on screens all the time, our cortisol levels rise. And so when we put screens down, we sleep better. We are less stressed. We have lower cortisol levels. So it's not just about mental health, it's about physical health also. You know, I mean, I think they are doing it, I think, for both reasons, but I do think it is really about mental and physical health.
If you could speak to those people who are hesitant, including me, to get an analog bag, what would you say?
I would say try it for 30 days. What do you have to lose, and see how you feel? And maybe just try it in one small way every day. Like, I mean, can you refrain from picking up your cell phone for 20 minutes after you wake up? Can you put your phone down for 30 minutes while you're playing with your children? Can you do one thing every day? Can you switch to paper books? Can you switch to just a paper day planner and see how it feels? So I think there's ways that you can start really small and see how you feel after 30 days.
I think that's
love
a
that.
great on-ramp.
Yes.
Because it's not like, you know, throwing the book at the prom. It's
Go get a landline right away.
Crawl before you walk. That's right. All right, Dr. Suzanne Wallach, thank you so much for your insight. Let's do a little analog.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good to see you. That's great. If anyone needs a very, and this is a very baby step, and I've told you about this, but I've gotten better.
Okay.
When I get into the elevator, that instinct to just reach into your pocket and just, while you're waiting for the elevator to go, that's been my one, like, okay, I'm not going to.
You know what I'm going to try to incorporate more? This is for the parents, really. I guess if you're married, you could include your spouse too. But at night, because I would always just put the kids to bed and then go look at my phone. I've started to give my daughters foot massages. And it's just a sweet moment where they're laying down and you're not looking at your phone and you're spending quality time, and it's giving them that physical touch and that love and attention. I've done it, and I gotta say, I haven't been that good at it because I keep forgetting, honestly. I've done it a couple of times. I'm like, oh, this is great. But my daughters haven't forgot. They're like, where's my foot
Where's this massage? Yeah.
So maybe try to do that. If you are a parent and you're like, ugh.
That'll soothe
a way
them
to connect.
too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just spend 5 minutes rubbing your kid's feet with some lotion.
Not
it's
bad.
super sweet.
Some lucky kids there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Foot massage.
You know.
I'm going to turn down a foot massage. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, but we have another Brookfield Zoo Chicago package to get to. We are going to be introduced by Natalie Baumke to the Puerto Rican crested toad when we come back. Welcome back. Look who we have. Our Brookfield Zoo Chicago correspondent, Natalie Baumke.
I can't think of a better title.
We've had a couple that's a prestigious title.
It is, yes.
You've introduced us to a couple cats or cat-like creatures in recent weeks. Today we're switching gears a little bit. What are we talking about today, Nat?
Creature. So this is an endangered frog species. It's only found in Puerto Rico, made famous by Super Bowl halftime performer Bad Bunny.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Oh, wow. We've been talking about him this show.
Okay, well, check it out.
Okay, here we go.
Would you know it if I told you this is the latest local celebrity here at Brookfield Zoo Chicago? I'm standing here with Dr. Mike, the president and CEO of the zoo, and made famous most recently by huge musician and soon-to-be Super Bowl performer Bad Bunny. We have the Puerto Rican crested toad. Tell us all about it here, Dr. Mike.
Sure, it's an incredible species. So it's one that was thought to be completely extinct until a small population was found back in the 1960s, and since that time there's really been this huge conservation effort to help the Puerto Rican crested toad, and we've been a part of that for almost 45 years with toads here at the zoo. But this is an animal that has not been on habitat where the public could see it until recently. This has been one of our behind-the-scenes conservation programs, and we have bred this animal successfully, and over the last 10 plus years have released over 27,000 of these toads back out into the wild in Puerto Rico.
That's amazing. And again, the first time that you can see it on habitat here at Brookfield Zoo Chicago. Tell me a little bit more about these little guys. You've got two of them on habitat here. I know some others may be behind the scenes, but obviously they only live in Puerto Rico. What else do we need to know?
Yeah, so like many amphibians around the world, they're really struggling, and so we see a lot of different threats that face amphibians, and some of that's just due to the really sensitive environments that they live in. So habitat destruction, habitat loss, human encroachment really alters the environment in a way that amphibians really struggle to deal with, and they're exposed through their skin to everything in the environment, and so pollutants out in the waterways. In the case of these guys, coastal erosion, where just changes in the coastline allows salt water to penetrate back into freshwater ponds and streams that they're really sensitive to. So a lot of things working against them. So it's really this huge effort to get them back out into the wild, and our teams have just recently gotten gotten back from some work in Puerto Rico, tagging and tracking these animals and trying to understand what we can do to support them.
I was going to say, I know that Brookfield Zoo Chicago has been a part of the conservation effort for this species for 45 years. That's such a long time.
Yeah, it's an animal that's got just an incredible story behind it, and it's one that we're seeing success with. So we always love to be able to share those stories where we're making a good impact and actually helping an animal to rebound in the wild.
So you don't have to take a plane or a boat to see the Puerto Rican crested toad. You can come right here to the swamp at Brookfield Zoo Chicago.
Natalie, you were just down in Puerto Rico. Did you see any wildlife down there?
Yes, I did. But I was going to mention actually the most famous Puerto Rican frog is, I believe it's called a coqui, and it makes, because of the little noise it makes, it's like coqui, coqui, and it makes it at night. And so we did hear that when I was there in Puerto Rico. This is a lesser known but equally as endangered frog species there. The other thing I saw though while we were there, since you brought it up, these giant pelicans that would circle over the ocean and then literally dive bomb the water to get fish.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
It's cool to see that.
It really
and
is.
they
like a
are
cannonball.
they're masters at it too.
How they can see them and be so fast.
And the wild horses. That's really what surprised me, is your story about the horses.
Yeah, so we stayed on this island that was just off of the mainland in Puerto Rico called Vieques, and they're known for their wild horses, and they're everywhere. So that was kind of amazing.
I love that. And that's not a squirrel, it's a horse walking out.
But I want to tell you guys about, there's a new activation that Brookfield Zoo just announced today. We got some photos that we want to show you of this. This is called Glow Wild, and you'll understand why. These are larger than life lanterns, and this is a new nighttime experience. It's kicking off March 19th at the zoo. Tickets are on sale right now for this. It runs from 6 to 10 p.m. again starting March 19th. So as you walk through the zoo, you're kind of escorted by these really incredible lanterns.
Wow.
So those, what are the? It almost looks like stained glass, but those are lanterns. What is the
material?
You're gonna ask me the
material?
medium, and I don't know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And how big? I want to know the scale. I got questions.
They're pretty sizable, but what a fun way to celebrate, you know, like spring and
For sure.
you know, ushering in the new nicer weather.
So that's mid-March when that
Yes.
hits?
Yeah.
Very
Lovely.
nice. That looks beautiful. All right, Nat, thanks so much.
You're
And
welcome.
You can stick around for this next story,
Okay.
Natalie. We've talked about a lot about like proposals, the creative ones, the ones that don't go so well. This one is this is one of those fails.
Okay.
Okay, and it boggles my mind how often this happens. And my theory is that the husband to be is nervous and shakes, and that's why they drop the ring so often. Okay, this proposal video right here, it's going viral. A man proposed to his girlfriend on a sky bridge at a Michigan ski resort. This guy accidentally dropped the ring while he was down on one knee. It fell 120 feet through an opening in that bridge. That's like one of those Indiana Jones bridges.
This is I've been on this bridge.
You have?
It's at the Boyne Mountain Resort, and I think it is like either the longest or highest suspension bridge in North America. And it is, I mean,
Is this scary to
It's
go
a
on?
little scary. I mean, you're secure on the bridge, but it's very high up. And with all the snow below, so did they find the ring?
That's what I was going to say.
The
Can you
resort
recover?
staff, okay, so they spent hours looking through right after it happened. And then the next day,
A little glimmer in the snow.
the resort staff was able to locate that thing.
They
Look,
had
there it
to
is.
add
Look
a
at it.
metal
Pretty
detector.
ring, very pretty.
Oh, poor guy. His stomach, you know, is not.
Because at that point, it's probably not insured, right? And so it's like a total loss.
Oh my gosh, yeah, exactly. Like,
Poor man.
I know.
I'm also curious how they chose that particular location. Natalie, is that like a common thing
Well,
as our Michigan
special
Bridge
spot?
expert?
yeah, right. I know that they
Oh, that is long.
It's huge. They unveiled it because I think the year that we went like 2 years ago, I want to say, and they had just unveiled it. And it's kind of neat because you have to take a ski lift to get up to it, which is fun. And then once you walk across the other side, they have like food trucks and hot chocolate and like outdoor board games that you can play.
Nice.
So it's kind of like a little destination once you make it across.
Once you make it across, oh, I'm not a heights guy, but
I'm so
okay,
glad they
so
recovered it.
glad that worked out. And here's something else upcoming for the Super Bowl. I don't think I've heard of this concept. We're talking about a live commercial. live.
Oh.
Yeah. Not pre-taped. Elijah Wood is going to be doing this. This is during the Super Bowl. This is an ad for GoPuff. This is a delivery service. I don't know what. Okay, so oh, that's Elijah Wood. I didn't recognize him in that ad. So this is I guess it's a Skittles ad.
I don't know whether to be delighted or horrified.
Or horrified. So here's the other thing. If you subscribe to this service, if you're a member, you can apply online to be at the house, because apparently this is going to be shot at a house.
How much did they have to pay?
Live.
Right.
And here's the thing, if you apply, you just have to have a front yard big enough for a production crew. And also, and this might rule all of us out, you got to pass a background check.
Oh,
Imagine the pressure. You know how many people are watching you during this commercial, and it's live.
Oh my gosh, that's true, because that's like the biggest audience of the year.
Yeah. Like, don't mess up.
They have done, though, those live musicals. Like, remember they did Grease and something other. I mean, and I'm always blown away by that. Yes. And
Yeah.
Peter Pan, I think they
Anything could
did.
go wrong.
Yes. And the
The magic of live, though.
Yeah, the
So there we
time
go.
constraints. I feel like all commercials should be live during the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, let's go. I mean, I guess we'd have technical
Listen.
difficulties.
There's always, that's what makes our job fun in the days following the Super Bowl, is that you get to kind of Monday morning quarterback all what went wrong. I mean,
The good stuff, the
we
bad
talk
stuff.
about Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson, like that kind of thing. I mean, during
Yeah.
the live broadcast, that's why these things are so interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Nat, thank you for joining
You're
us
welcome.
this last segment and introducing us that cute little Puerto Rican frog.
So
I appreciate
sweet.
it. We're back with another hour of Chicago Now right after this.
To the 11 o'clock hour of Chicago Now. Interesting little show that you guys had there with the frog.
Yeah, the Puerto Rican frog.
Puerto Rican
Go
frog.
to Brookfield Zoo, Chicago, and check that out.
I love Natalie's stories there. 'Cause
They're
it gives you a
amazing.
closer look at some of the animals. There, it's a huge zoo.
No.
You know, you forget there's more than just the lions, the elephants, all that kind of jazz.
I love Lincoln Park Zoo, but Brookfield Zoo, I remember as a kid, it just had that extra thing, because I remember loving the dolphins back there, and the enclosures for some of the primates and stuff, they're just spectacular. They do great work over at Brookfield Zoo, Chicago. Gabby, question for you.
Yeah.
Are you a dry January person?
No, I'm not.
I'm not, but I know you are.
Yes, I am. Oh, that's right, because you were like,
You were
anyone who
counting
needs
down the
dry
days.
January obviously has a problem the other 11 months out of the year. That was your reaction.
I made that super clear. That
Yes, exactly. I felt very judged.
Problem, Anthony. I just realized I'm still wearing my sweater because
I will say it's a little chilly here. I will say this. I've been doing dry January for a long time now. I don't know how many years it's been a thing.
Years in a row you've done it.
Oh, years.
Oh, I didn't know that. So you've had a problem for a long time.
It's gotten so much easier. And, well, yeah, exactly. Kate, or sorry, Gabby.
Yeah. Caitlin's gone, Anthony.
Caitlin's gone.
But she would say
Gabby,
something mean like that.
All right, here's the deal. When I was younger, not as young as you, but it was a bigger deal because I was doing so much more socializing.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the only time I ever think of it as a challenge, is because it's become such a social thing, you know, and you get those reactions where if you're at a dinner party,
like, come
or if you're
on, Anthony.
exactly, and you don't partake,
yeah,
then all of a sudden you're the
cop.
Yeah, so it's not so much the, oh my gosh, I'm shaking at you know, at the end of the day because I don't have my booze. It's literally just like a social thing.
Yeah, I will say I'm pretty true to my generation, I think, because we've been talking about how Gen Zers are drinking less, and not that I don't drink, it's just that oftentimes I'll go to a restaurant and not order a drink, but it's mostly because it's expensive, honestly.
Yeah,
that
it
too.
does. Oh my
And so I
gosh,
kind of
it
just
adds
like
so
cut
much
it out,
to
and
the
I'm
bill.
like, what's the point? Unless it's like something really good where I'm like, oh, this is gonna, like a great margarita. That's really the only thing I'll have. Because otherwise it's like, all right, well, I'm not drinking to get buzzed, and that sounds horrible. Like, I don't drink just to get drunk, but sometimes kind of like, all right, well, that's the point. You're going out with your friends and stuff.
We had a guest during our 10 o'clock hour that was talking to us about this going back to analog trend.
Yeah.
And it is being spearheaded by Gen Z. And you guys take a lot of flack, you know what I mean? You do. And these are stories that I'm impressed, because you don't see that coming from millennials or the Gen Xers, this going back to analog. But like with the booze thing, and with this going back to analog thing, I like it. I like it. I think that's a good thing. I will say, graduating college when I did, which was in 2000, drinking was just so ubiquitous with anything social, like literally anything social. It was just, it was so ingrained.
Yeah.
And I like that that's not necessarily the case anymore.
Well, I would say that, I mean, to a point, it is. I guess, and it depends on the circle you're into. But I think now, and I have mentioned this before, you know, with marijuana being legalized, like, I think that's kind of where it's turning to, honestly.
Yeah, you made a prediction that
THC drinks and stuff. Like, for instance, I was even going, I think it's down the Kennedy, and off the expressway you see this advertisement and it has these THC drinks. Yeah,
I know the exact one you're talking about.
And it's like a dry January, no problem, like have the THC drink. And I honestly, again, I'm not really against it. I might sound like I am, but it just sounds like that's just another, you know, way to be intoxicated. And I think the point of dry January is to live, you know, without a substance to turn
I
to.
Totally agree, and I know the exact billboard you're talking about, and I think if we're talking about the same one, it says really a dry January cheat code.
Yep, that's
Isn't that what it said?
Yeah,
and I remember looking at that, I had the same reaction as you. It's like, the whole point of January is dry January is to not do cheat codes.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. But I get what they mean. It's the whole California
I do too,
sober
and it's
thing.
actually a perfect time to advertise for.
Oh, for sure.
You know, a THC.
Oh, for sure. And people do dry January differently. Like, some people take it very literally. It's like, okay, we're removing alcohol, but others are more like, hey, it's no this, it's no caffeine.
Going
it's
on
no
a Thursday when I'm out to dinner, I don't need to have a few drinks. Yeah. Totally
exactly. So we are going to kind of dive in. The reason I bring that up, we're going to dive into Illinois residents specifically and the drinking habits of Illinoisans. Okay, and when we brought that up, I was like, oh, I wonder what this would look like with Wisconsin.
That's what I was going to say, Anthony, because up there, it's like literally
cheese, brats, yeah.
And you look at like the top like cities, like drunkest cities, and it's like most of them are Wisconsin
They're
cities.
up in Milwaukee.
And we're close by, so I wonder how we do rank with them. Also, you guys just had that funny / sad video of the proposal gone wrong. We also have a proposal that gone, and I wouldn't say went wrong though. It
went how it needed to go.
It went how it needed to go. Let's say it was a complete surprise. So we're gonna have the now fiance in to talk with us about, her proposal experience.
Yes, and how
her
it was.
mans did it.
I don't know how to tease this. It was one of those things, the man involved, not surprised at all. The woman was, and there's a reason that it went viral, and this happened
Let's just
locally.
say she probably had expectations in her head, and those expectations really didn't go how her expectations
Perfectly
probably were.
stated. Yes, indeed. Another trending story. Stafford in the cold. We're talking about Matthew Stafford. Okay?
And you know what? I will die on this hill because LA Rams, obviously, like they're playing in warm weather. Like the coldest it really gets, let's be honest, in LA. Like
60s.
it'll still get maybe 40s. No, sometimes
We'll go down to the 40s?
like
I mean,
high
you're
40s.
San Diego,
Like
right?
high
You're from
40s.
San
Like,
Diego?
in early morning, later hours, like it does get pretty chilly, you know? So it's not like, and he's seasoned. Like he's played in all kind of temperatures before. But this is a graphic that I found on Instagram while I was scrolling. It's from Free Play Media, and it breaks down some of the numbers of when he plays in under 40 degrees. So he has a 1-8 record that says 54.6% completion percentage, 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions,
Ooh.
and of course we know it's expected to be, I think, in the
Lower
teens.
passer
Is that
rating,
what,
so 76.
Is that what Mike Kaplan said this morning, and Caitlin?
Yes.
That it's supposed to be in the teens on Sunday?
Yes.
So we will see. And then he has that finger situation going on with him.
Hey, you know what? This is cause for optimism. We learned on the news this morning. We talked about this thing that is known as fanxiety. Fanxiety. Okay, it's that anxiety that you get when you're super nervous or super invested in a game, and how it can actually turn into a negative thing when you lose control of your emotions. It has happened to me before, where you just get, what was the phrasing she used? Basically like, it takes you completely out of the moment, and you're not all of a sudden enjoying the game. And she was advising,
Having like an out-of-body experience?
yeah, exactly. But she was advising holding on to hope during the game. Hope helps.
Oh.
So if you like believe, and the Bears have made this easy this year because they always tend to come back. Oh, here, hold on, knock on wood. I'm so superstitious. But they've been doing a lot of comebacks this year, right?
Yeah.
And so that is cause for hope, but that actually does help. She says that helps during the game itself, because we're like, okay, how do we control our emotions during a big game? And she's like, if you hold out that optimism that they can come back, that actually does help you out during the game. And so when I see stats like you just ran through with Matthew Stafford, and how everything, you know, just depletes, I guess, you know, his passer rating. He's almost thrown more interceptions than touchdowns in below 40 weather, and a 1-8 record. Hey, that's cause for hope, everybody.
Free Play Media, that's where the information came from. So I hope that stands true, at least. I was just seeing it on Instagram, and I'm like, you know what, this would be interesting. How are you feeling about your Hoosiers?
Oh, Hoosiers? Man, again, I'm so superstitious. I'm feeling great about my Hoosiers.
You don't even want to talk about it.
But, you know, this is technically a home game for Miami.
Yeah.
And so that'll be challenging. Miami appears to be kind of peaking at the right time. And so you know, Indiana's been blowing teams out.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's, what do they call them, those games where they, it's like a sneak attack game. I can't remember the phrase for it. But when you get too high on yourself, you rest on your laurels, you take your foot off the accelerator. Like Indiana just won 56-22.
Yeah.
I don't want that to translate into, hey, you know,
They're letting
rolling
their
in
foot off the gas.
Exactly.
I don't think Mendoza would let that happen, honestly. I was very surprised watching the Peach Bowl how many Hoosiers fans were
was unbelievable.
in the stadium. I felt like I saw no one representing the
I
other
was there,
side.
and there were 75,000 people in the arena. And my early guess was that there were 74,000 Hoosiers.
Yeah.
there.
Did they,
because you
did
just
they
didn't
release
see
anything? Because all I saw was a sea of red.
They released that it was like 90-10, 90 Hoosiers 10. But like that seemed not accurate to me.
Wow.
It seemed to me, and this is just an eyeball guess, that it was like 98-2 or even 99-1.
Oh, so you thought it was even
yeah,
more.
Exactly. They said 90-10. I didn't believe
That's
that. But
incredible.
apparently it was 90-10. And actually, when we checked into our hotel, it was cool. We get to the front lobby, and then right behind the main lobby desk on the wall where all the concierge check-in people were helmets, red ones for Indiana fans and green ones for Oregon fans. And there were so many more red helmets than green. And so the first thing I asked the person when I got to the lobby was like, why do you have so many red helmets, like, you know, obviously we were happy,
yeah.
and he's like, this is based on our check-ins. Like, we put a helmet up for our check-ins, and there's so many more Hoosier fans than Oregon fans.
Wow.
The location played in Indiana's favor because
It did, yeah. Because
Oregon,
it was a few
that's
hours
a trek.
compared to halfway
That's a
around
trek.
across the country. Wow. Have you looked at how much tickets are for?
Yes,
how much?
yeah, they're not happening for me. The cheapest, $3,500.
Wow.
Most expensive are in the $20,000.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, isn't that unbelievable?
Does not surprise
And then I will say, before we move on to me asking you about sea moss and whether you eat it, is Mendoza is also from Miami. They're a Miami family, so it'll be like a little. He might be kind of
Homecoming.
comfortable there through in the 305.
Yeah, he's gonna want to
The 305.
impress.
Yeah,
He's
the local
be
fans.
impressed.
All right, Gabby. I don't know if you've ever gotten on any of these diet fads, but apparently people are consuming a certain kind of sea moss. Tell us.
So let me tell you, this is actually very concerning. And now that this has come out, it kind of makes sense. And now I'm suspicious of yes, when I did have sea moss. So I have purchased sea moss, I think twice. Oh yeah, and I had it like, I think it was twice a day. I had it in the morning and at night. It's been like months now, maybe even a year since the last time I purchased it.
Okay.
And so pretty much like people were saying that sea moss is a healthy supplement, which it does, you know, have vitamins and minerals, arguably, I guess the right kind, but now there's new warnings that have emerged. So one being the high iodine content, which means excessive iodine can worsen or cause thyroid problems. So a lot of these people are turning to, you know, sea moss to add into their supplement intake, thinking that.
So like adding it to a smoothie. How did you?
Just a spoonful.
Okay. How did you first decide? Because there's so many supplements out there. You know what I mean? There's so many. You know, Maggie does like collagen and peptides or whatever they are. How did you zero in on this one?
So, of course, social media.
Okay.
And I think talking about my generation, Gen Z, like we're very impressionable,
Susceptible.
I think, and susceptible to like listening to things that are online, like, and especially if it's like widespread. Like, for instance, like the vibration plate that's going around now, that's supposed to help with like lymphatic drainage, and like so everyone's now on this
what
vibration
did you say?
plate. Oh, it's
A vibration plate.
Yeah, so it's a literal like little, you know, whatever stool or little plate that you step on, and it has
It vibrates?
It vibrates, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it like puts you back and forth, and it's supposed to help with inflammation and yeah, I don't really have any other explanation, but I will tell you I have purchased one.
You're
Anyway,
a marketer's dream, Gabrielle. You are a marketer's dream.
But with sea moss, there's a couple of health food stores that are over in the southwest suburbs. So I've been to them, and so I've seen the sea moss around in the refrigerator there. So I'm like, okay, I've seen this on, talked about on social media. It has good benefits. You read the label, it looks great. And likely it is. I don't want to say that all sea moss has these warnings, I guess. Yeah, concerning ingredients. Also, they're saying heavy metal toxicity. So sea moss absorbs metals like lead, mercury from the ocean, posing risk for regular consumption. Because sea moss, it is what it sounds like. It's moss from the sea.
I have to ask you about the taste before we move on to our next
It's
trender.
not good. I've had one that's ginger, and then I had another one that was, what was it, like a strawberry ginger?
All
like
right.
you kind of have to have the ginger in there
Do you
because it's
just
like
eat it spoonful,
Yeah,
or did you put it in something else to kind of as
no,
a
I had
delivery
it
mechanism?
as a spoonful, but some people I think would put it in tea maybe.
Yeah.
But I think it would keep its like form when you would just take a spoonful of it. Anyways, let me get through this quickly. Sorry guys, I'm taking way too long reading all of this. Also, microbial contamination, improper pH control during processing can also allow harmful bacteria like those causing botulism to grow, leading to serious illness. Also, it's not that safe for people on blood thinners. So this all came about because recently Diva Farm Incorporated voluntarily recalled its True Sea Moss gel this month due to lack of regulatory authorization for pH-controlled products, posing a risk for botulism. So what concerns me is that, yes, I go into some of these stores and it's just kind of in a fridge, and likely, I don't know the process, so I'm gonna say, allegedly, probably, the person who owns this health food store is just getting it from someone who's making it locally and, trusting that it's a good product. That's where I guess my concern would lie.
Well, a lot of these supplements, they're not like, I don't know, if it's FDA, but they're not approved in the same way that like a medication or another food product would.
Yeah, or an actual like encapsulated vitamin maybe that you would see in the shelves.
So proceed with caution.
So proceed with caution. Just make sure like you're really paying attention to the label and stuff like that. Maybe doing a little research on your phone real quick while you're shopping in the store. Okay, is this brand or company who's making this CMOS legitimate, etc. But I will say it helps with fiber and stuff like that too. Kind of helps your digestion going, as they say. I would say, you know what? It didn't hurt me. I don't know if it really helped me when I was taking it, but now I'm really going to double think like, okay, where am I buying this? Who am I buying it from?
Totally. All right, here is something else that is trending along with recalled CMOS. This is a Chinese phenomenon. It's an app that is taking on a life of its own in China. It's called Are You Dead? All right? Here's a look.
Are You Dead app.
It's the Are You Dead app, and people in China are using this. Here is how it works. It's a very simple concept. All right. Users have to press a button every 2 days to confirm that they are okay. If they miss a check-in, this Are You Dead app will email an emergency contact on the 3rd day. Okay, so the notice reads, and then insert your name. So I'm Anto. I've been inactive for multiple consecutive days. Come check my physical condition. So it's basically a default well-being check app. And this is getting popular for people who live on their own with small social circles. It's only available in China right now. And the question is if it will spread elsewhere. And I don't know, is there we talk about the loneliness epidemic here in America. And I wonder if that's the case in China. I know that they have a massive population, but with screens and things like that, people are, you know, there's probably a loneliness epidemic.
100%.
I'm guessing it's a global
and
thing.
I could see this being helpful for the elderly.
Right.
People who are getting up there in age. Not necessarily maybe elderly. It just has to be someone who's on their phone a lot, which I think is probably going to be maybe the 50+ folks right now who are in that generation where they're on their phones a lot, and then will carry that into their, you know, the rest of their life, and they can remember to press a check-in every day. I don't know. I often forget to do a lot of things on my phone, basic things. So
this to me, I don't know. It's like, what would the target be? I guess when you have a high-risk person in your life that lives alone. Maybe that's but like for everyday people, I don't want to like check in that I'm alive every 3 days. Like that seems like kind of a pessimistic way to walk around.
I think I remember reading too that this came out during the pandemic and or was thought of during the pandemic and kind of came to fruition then, which would make sense, right? Because that's when we were definitely isolated, and there'd be reason to think that maybe someone didn't make it through the week.
I don't know if it's going to catch on here. I have noticed, though, like platforms like Facebook and Instagram where you check in during... Marked safe.
Marked safe.
I have marked myself safe from, today's commute.
Yeah,
I've been marked safe from today's commute, so...
I also do think it's funny when people, like, use that as a joke, like, marked safe from, I can't think of anyone
from, like, Packers fans or whatever. They'll do that. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to really... Gabby has been giving me flack all week for doing dry January. You just twisted it up on me.
I'm so proud of you. I just know it's a huge problem, and you're always drinking. You always have something under your desk.
But we're going to talk to an addiction psychologist about this, Aaron Weiner. And I'm actually curious about this. We mentioned we were making fun of our friends north of the Cheddar Curtain in Wisconsin, but we're going to dive into the drinking habits of Illinoisans specifically when we come back, so stay with us.
These are the
welcome back to Chicago Now. Let's talk about your relationship
Yes,
with booze.
mine specifically.
Shall we?
Let's really dive in here.
Anthony is participating in Dry January,
Yes.
as we likely are often see people do during this month. But more people in Illinois might want to consider also hopping on this trend as well. And we're learning more about the habits people in Illinois have with alcohol with Dr. Aaron Weiner, addiction psychologist. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. Thank you
Yes.
for having me.
Okay, so why do you think, Dry January resonates with people who maybe don't consider themselves, alcoholics or frequent drinkers even?
Well, my hunch is that we're moving into a place where we're more interested in health in general, right? When you're talking about alcoholism, it's something where, you see that there's a problem. It's like things are on fire in your life. But we're entering a phase where we're thinking about, I was watching the previous segment, we're seeing things on social media where we're like, would CMOS help me, right? We're thinking about what might actually be useful. And so when we see news about alcohol and how it's related to negative health outcomes, folks are thinking, what is my relationship with alcohol? Is it what I want it to be? What would happen if I cut back? And Anthony, I think it's amazing that you're doing Dry January.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I want to ask you about a comparison to cigarettes here. Back, when we watched shows like Mad Men in the 1960s, everyone's just smoking cigarettes constantly. At some point, all the messaging against cigarette smoking and all the dangers of nicotine and all that tar gained critical mass, and then the rate of smoking started dropping off. Okay, now there's these Surgeon General warnings on every pack. The packs, super expensive. Do you notice the same thing now happening with alcohol?
So that's a really interesting point. So as far as cigarettes go, there was probably about like a 10-year period after that first Surgeon General's warning came out about that link between tobacco and cancer, to the point that we actually started seeing use rates decline. And so I don't know if it's as much about just health. I think a lot of it has to do with our culture, how we look at it. Is it cool? Is it trendy? Is it what we do at work, at weddings, on vacation, etc.? And I think once people started looking at smoking as being, and many times folks will look at as being distasteful, in terms of the smell and those sorts of things. I think that's when we started to see that downturn, when socially we started to see a shift. Because health information, it's easy sometimes for us to look past that, to be like, oh, that's not going to happen to me, or I've been doing this for that many years, or my mom or dad did this. But it's when we start feeling those social norms shift, I feel like, is when we start to really feel our own behavior pull in us in a different direction. So I do think we're starting to see that with alcohol. The health information is stacking up, but we're also starting to see folks, particularly young people and Gen Z, move more away from alcohol.
So that social dynamic where it's not always the cool thing to do, and in some cases it's going to be cooler to have an NA beer or to have a mocktail, you actually do see that happening with Gen Z, and that could perhaps kind of start tipping the scales like cigarettes?
Yeah, well, I think that, I believe I read, this might have been like a year back, that the best-selling beer at Whole Foods was Athletic Company, a non-alcoholic beer brand.
Wow.
And I don't think that's a mistake. I think that people are thinking about their health, and they're trying to make choices that are in line with their values. And when they start to think about, well, this actually might taste pretty good, and it removes all that risk from putting the alcohol in your body, which truthfully, even though it's legal and been legal for a very long time, it's one of the most destructive substances you can put into your body, particularly at higher quantities, particularly over time. When folks think about that and then they see other options, they're making that choice more and more to go a different way.
Okay, speaking of different options, doctor, because Anthony and I were talking about this at the beginning, yes, there's Dry January right now on the Kennedy Expressway, one of the largest that goes to the northwest suburbs. There's a big ad that is for THC drinks, right? And it says dry...
Cheat code, it's a Dry January cheat code.
Yeah, so it's kind of, turning your attention, very timely, right? It's probably a very successful ad. But, what does that mean kind of maybe to the person driving, seeing that when they're trying to better themselves, stop from Dry January or, stop drinking alcohol, but they're like, oh, wait, but here's another, a vice for me to lean into?
Right. Well, that's a really good point. That these are businesses, right? The dispensaries are businesses, alcohol companies are businesses. Their goal is to make money, and so they're not necessarily thinking, "Hey, we've got this whole group of people." And actually, there's a record number of people this year reported participating in Dry January. They're not thinking, "Hey, how can we help them examine their life without substances?" Thinking about different ways to socialize, to cope with problems, see what happens to their sleep, to their overall health when they take space from substances. They're thinking, how can I maybe move them over to something else? Because the spirit of Dry January, right? It's about self-examination through experience. You might always be thinking, well, what would it be like if I cut back? And by the way, damp January, cutting back, that has a ton of proven benefits as well. It's all about that juxtaposition, seeing where was I before, where was I now when I really take some space, and then which one do I like better? So if you're just substituting one chemical in for another, you're not really getting that full experience.
We're going to dive in, Doctor, to some of the local statistics involving Illinoisans and their use of alcohol. First up, in Illinois, nearly 1 in 4 adults between 18 and 44 is at risk for binge or chronic drinking. Our state's binge drinking rate is 17% higher than the national average. And between 2020 and 2023, almost 2,500 Illinoisans died from alcohol-related disease. Why is this happening? Is there something about Illinois that is more stressful, more conducive to alcoholism? What's going on?
Oh man, I wish I knew. So I first became aware of those statistics when I read the report. A great report recently was put out by the Department of Human Services here in Illinois that was talking about those rates. They don't talk about the why. And I think if I were to speculate, that would be all it would be, is speculation. But it is concerning to see that we're above the national average. To me, a big part of what I think perpetuates alcohol-related problems in our country more generally is that we accept what's around us as normal and the way things are. And that can be at a state level, but even more powerful at a community level, at a family level, at a friendship level. And so if everyone around you is drinking in a certain way, if they're always drinking to get drunk, if they're always going out, if every time you have fun there's alcohol involved, that rubs off on you and makes you think, oh, this is just what people do, which makes it more likely that you're going to do it. So I think it's a invitation to be introspective, perhaps as a state, but also as communities and as individuals.
You know, you always hear parents say it, you are who your friends are.
That's true.
And it holds true.
And you're a product of the 5 people that you surround yourself with most.
Very
There's
much
a
so.
lot of
Very
truth
true.
there.
That being said, though, you know, we see the statistics coming out of Wisconsin, which are even worse, you know, than Illinois. Does that play any influence on it that they're so close, you know, beyond what our meteorologist lovingly calls Wisconsin state line, the Cheddar Curtain?
Yeah. Well, so to be perfectly honest with you, I don't believe that just having them as our neighbors to the north means that we have to be angsty at Wisconsin more than maybe we already are when the Packers were beating us. I'm glad they're not anymore. Go Bears. But I think really when you look at social network analyses and what influences our behavior, it's a lot more proximal. It's our actual communities. It's our families. It's those 5 people we surround ourselves with. It's what we're exposed to. So I think it's always great when those around us, even at that more meta scale, are demonstrating what we'd like to emulate. But I think I'd probably look a little bit closer to home rather than up north.
Well stated. As someone who works with patients who suffer from addiction, not just with alcohol, but drugs too, what might this little foray into sobriety during Dry January do for folks? You know, it's almost like dipping your toes in. You're not committing to never drinking again, but what are some of the ways you see people really being impacted by this, perhaps not just for the month, but beyond January?
Yeah. Well, so when something's a regular part of your life, it's almost like you're on autopilot. You don't notice that it's there. Its presence doesn't hit you in quite the same way. It just becomes part of the fabric of everything. And that can be both in terms of just like, say, the behavior of drinking, but then also particularly when it comes to substances, that after effect on your body. A lot of folks, particularly those who don't have alcoholism, when they drink, it tends to be in the evening. And when you drink, that actually negatively impacts your ability to have deep and REM sleep. And so if someone was drinking fairly regularly and then they were to stop or significantly cut back, they might notice a change in their energy levels in the morning. Maybe they notice that they're a little bit less irritable. The idea of it being a month, why it's not like dry week, say, or like dry 10 days, is kind of like if you go to another country. If you're there a few days, it feels like a quick vacation, like a tourist trip. But if you stay there for a longer period of time, you start to get more of that vibe of what it's actually like to live there, and you can really compare. And so it might be overall health, it might be energy, it might be something changes on the scale, or, you know, in terms of something going down, or the balance of your bank account staying higher than it did before. I think it's different for everyone what you'll notice when you either try dry January or damp January. And maybe some folks won't notice much of a difference at all. And that can also be okay. But you give yourself the opportunity to see a difference.
You know what? That's why he's the doctor. That's why he's the expert. Very well said.
Thank you so much.
Totally makes a good point. One more question for you. You know, what are maybe some resources that are available if people, you know, want to learn more about their relationship with alcohol?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 3 different things that I'd recommend. One, completely free. Everyone can do it. Try, if you're doing a challenge like this, try tracking. Write down what you're doing, put down a journal, because it's easy for us to, our memory just melds everything together and we start to make assumptions. So write things down, make the most of that experience as you go along. Anyone can do it, doesn't cost a thing. The second thing I'd recommend, and I'll admit I'm biased, I'm the executive vice president at a nonprofit, and we have a course designed to help people examine their relationship to alcohol called Prime Choices. And you can find out more about that at primechoicescourse.org. The third thing that I'd recommend, my favorite app right now for drinking reduction is called Sunnyside. So check that out. They have a bunch of really great tools in there for tracking, for support, community elements. So if you had to pick one app right now, that would be the one that I'd recommend.
Very good information, Dr. Aaron Weiner. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it, sir. And you're right. Go Bears.
Sure. My pleasure. Take care, you guys.
Yeah, you too. I will say that the sleep, that he was noticing, some people don't notice a thing. I notice right out of the gate that sleep is better. More energy.
So what's your, if you don't mind me asking,
No,
you want to blast on live TV,
okay.
but what do you find you're drinking the most? Is it on the weekend, just watching football and stuff, or is it when you go out to eat and every night with dinner, or what?
I would say so, and then I would say concentrated most on weekends, and then the kind of nightly glass of wine, or a cocktail with dinner. You know, and I've read a lot about sleep, and I follow a number of sleep podcasters and everything, and one of the things they say is that you should not drink within 2 hours of your bedtime. And that was what I was doing, because we go to bed early on this shift, and so a lot of times exactly, even if we're eating at 6:30 or so, that does fall within 2 hours of my bedtime. And so even that one cocktail with dinner on weeknights will have an impact.
But there's always that connotation that, like, with alcohol you get more sleepy, you know, like with one cocktail and stuff. So that's why
into this.
When I first started hearing about this, I'm like, wait, that kind of like seems like it's reversed from what you would
think.
expect.
And here's the answer to that, from my understanding, is that it does make you go to sleep quicker in many instances, but the quality of sleep. And I don't know if you've ever had a big night where, you have no problem going down, but then a couple hours, the spins are awful. Horrible. But then there's a lot of times where, you know, it's easy to just fall asleep initially, but then 3 hours later you're awake again because of
burping. You need some Tums.
Exactly, need some Tums. So there you go. Food for thought. You know. So it's something that I've built in.
Anthony can get through it.
It's easier and easier every year, Gabs, I will say. All right, it's 11:36. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be joined by some special guests when we come back. We're talking about a new children's book that is called Toofy and the Fairy's Helpers.
I love it. Isn't it cute?
Oh my gosh. It's so cute to see our kids losing teeth, waiting for that tooth fairy. So that's it's a super sweet story, and we'll get to it when we come back right after this. Everybody stay with us.
This
Chicago Now. A new children's book is taking you along with the Tooth Fairy's helpers as they track lost teeth around the world. What a great idea. It was written and created by Nicole Paxton, and she's here with us in studio this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right. I love the cover already. I love the little stuffed animal that comes with it. Tell us about your book. I know it's a broad question, but it seems like kind of there's a lot packed into here.
There is a lot packed into it. I actually wrote it about 5 years ago when my girls back there just started losing their baby teeth. They were not thrilled with the idea of actually turning it into the Tooth Fairy. So they're like, well, Mom, why does she want the teeth in the first place? So this book is going to answer that question. And to find the answer, we actually wrote a letter to the Tooth Fairy to get the answer. And then that is where it expanded from, because I started talking to friends and family about, do you guys have an answer? Like, what is the Tooth Fairy using the teeth for? And nobody really did. So then that is how it came to be. I just jotted it down.
That's so true. You know what? There's probably kids have so many funny questions for one, but also, yeah, they're obviously they're growing human beings. They're going to be intuitive. They're going to ask questions. And I could see how you could get into panic without having kids myself. Is there still that fascination, though, with the Tooth Fairy and that special magic? For some reason, I was one of those kids. I was kind of obsessed with it.
Oh, that's awesome, though. I actually have done a ton of classroom readings, all from preschool up to 4th grade, and they are so inquisitive. You're correct on that. And it's just very exciting because when we get to the punchline in there of what the Tooth Fairy is using the teeth for, they just light up. And that is probably my most favorite thing ever, is to share that with them.
Nicole, do you want people to get the book and find out through there, or can you give us a little hint of
we can give you
what the
hints.
Groundbreaking news is?
Yeah, so is it okay if I put
Yeah, please.
So in the book, it's going to answer that question. And then I actually in here also have the two little girls that asked the question initially.
Okay.
They're
the
hidden.
Inspiration.
They're hidden in here as
That's
well.
So cute. I love it. And the illustration is beautiful.
Yeah,
Graphic with
she
it.
did a great job. I did not illustrate it myself. I had to outsource for that. I shopped about 15 different illustrators until I found her. And then these guys are known as the fairy helper. So that's where it's like introducing them in the beginning.
Okay.
Each kiddo gets to name their own because they're going to keep the baby tooth safe. And then the answer,
right here in the little pocket,
yes.
you guys. There's a little pocket where, okay.
So yeah, he's going to hold on
safe.
to it. And the punchline is, we believe that the Tooth Fairy is using the baby teeth to turn them into stars. So it's lighting up the nighttime
When you look up,
sky.
yeah, in the sky, then you can see that's how your teeth are shining up there.
And that's the Staronator.
You know, it all makes sense to me now. For kids at home who are watching, now you have your answer, everyone. Maybe your parents don't know where the Tooth Fairy is putting those teeth, but this is a good tool to help keep everything safe. Does your Tooth Fairy give gifts sometimes, you know, like
Ours
depends
does.
kind of how, I know there's different tooth fairies, just so everyone knows too, there might be some different tooth fairies
Yes,
in
this
different parts of the
actually
world.
has different traditions from around the world in it too. So even like that's what this page is about. Some people throw their teeth on top of the roof when they lose them, or there's El Ratoncito in here. So it does explain all the traditions from around the world, as well as different fun facts, like the tooth fairies collecting over 300,000 teeth a day. So that's how they're making so many stars.
Incredible. That's
Packed a
why
lot.
you look in the night sky. Is this your first book?
This is my first book. We just launched November 1st. Like I said, I wrote it 5 years ago, but I was just nervous to get it out there, and you know, and then I decided, you know what, we only live once. I'm 42. Let's see what we could do.
Of course.
And thanks to my husband, I was able to step back from my full time and focus on this. So
Why not? I love it. And what's the reaction been from some parents, readers?
they love it. It's been amazing. It's truly been an honor. And like I said, especially sharing it with people, once they see the whole scope of it, they understand it's more than just a quick little Tooth Fairy story. Like the fairy helper is going to give comfort to the kids, actually, because we have kids that we've spoken to that are taking that wit to the dentist office. So when they're nervous, they're holding on to it. And then my girls actually did not love the idea of the Tooth Fairy sneaking under their pillow. So that's how we came up with this guy, and to put the pocket on there so we can leave it outside the door.
Of course.
And makes the Tooth Fairy's job a little easier.
It does, yeah. Well, and the Tooth Fairy, everyone needs a helper, just like Santa has his elves, right? Everyone needs a helper. This kind of reminds me a little bit about our friend Elf on the Shelf. I know everyone has different names at home for that elf. But is that kind of maybe where that concept came from?
It definitely gave me the confidence actually to go forward with it, because I saw that, and I know it was just I think 2 women that did that as well, and they did the same thing with vendor shows. So I've been doing different vendor shows and everything. They were self-published, so that's definitely been an inspiration.
I was going to ask you, because you're also, like you said, self-published. How are you doing the marketing other than going to some of these, you know, reads and sharing your product and such?
Yes, so it is primarily live reading to a lot of the schools I've been doing. I also go live on TikTok a lot of times. I try to go daily, and I think that has actually helped me be a little calmer for this situation.
You know what? You're doing great. And I always say, if I'm not perfect, you don't have to be perfect. No one has to be perfect on this show, because it's, you know, we're just sharing stories and real people too. So are you from the Chicagoland area?
I grew up in Oak Forest, so South Chicagoland area, and now we actually live in Northwest Indiana.
Oh, you must be so proud, and the people around you must be so proud of your family as well. Where can people find the tooth, the book, and the little stuffed animal too?
So I have it on a bunch of places. The best place is going to be my website, which is toofeyco.com. So it's TOOFEYCO.com. But I also have it on shelves at Little Hearts Play Cafe in Dyer, Indiana, as well as the Jolly Giraffe in Frankfort, Illinois. So it is on shelves there. So we are starting to get it in places. But
we love supporting the local businesses too. I love the name Toofy. Is that, and a lot of, you know, kids can't really say, I would say toofers, I think, if I remember right. I think my parents recently told me that. You know, that's pretty common, isn't it?
Yes, it actually came from them saying tooth fairy, but mumbled. So it ended up to me sounding like Toofy.
So
I'm like,
cute.
what are you saying?
What's next? Is there going to be maybe a 2-part series? Because maybe the helpers are going on other, you know, kind of missions or sharing our stories about some of the teeth that they pick up.
So next, I'm primarily focusing on this, and I think I'm going to update the back of this, because this is actually a gift for the parents. It's a tooth tracker chart. So as those baby teeth fall out, we can date it and have a nice keepsake. But after visiting my dentist, the pediatric dentist for the girls, it's not anatomically correct, which I knew, but I was a little nervous to fix it, but she said she'd help me. Shout out to LMK.
There you go. You need someone on your team like that. So, hey, this is how it could even be better. Because it's so cute. Do most parents, Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong, this is very casual. We even talk to people on the sidelines here. Anthony needed a little bathroom break, people. People still keep their kids' teeth, right? Is that normal, or do they?
I thought I was abnormal because I threw them in this little compartment in my little container in my top drawer, so I've still got them.
Because they're just so cute,
still got
right?
them, yes.
Do you do the same thing?
The tooth fairy took them up to the sky, so.
Oh, okay, that's true. That's true. The tooth fairy keeps them, yeah. Or maybe sometimes the tooth fairy will bring them back, you know, to the parents too. Anthony, that's how you probably got your teeth back.
They're on loan.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And then in there, I was also hoping to see this go a little further with maybe some like deals, right? With like Lego or Play-Doh, because the Staronator that is transforming those teeth, if you see it, hold on. So at the top, it has where the teeth go in, and then they get there, and then they come out as stars. So like a Lego build. I actually had my cousin crew, we call them, all the kids try to build one of these for Christmas. So it turned out really good, though. They did awesome with the Legos.
I see this going everywhere, worldwide, as you've also, you know, included in your book here. All right, one more time, the name of the book and where people can find it.
So it's called Toofy and the Fairies Helpers, and you can find it at my website, toofeyco.com. It is also on TikTok Shop as well as Amazon, but it's better if you get it from the website.
Nicole Paxton, thank you, and congratulations to you. How awesome. Finally getting answers about where those little teeth go. It is solved now, and for all you parents at home too, you know, add it to your, you need helpers. Everyone needs helpers. All right, Nicole, thank you so much. Okay, we'll have much more Good Day, or Chicago Now, not Good Day Chicago, that was much earlier this morning, right after this short break.
In my
And that very shocked face is now here in the flesh with a smile on your face. Carrie, thank you so much for coming in.
The perfect caption for the perfect moment at the perfect time has gone viral. And this is all blocks away from where we are in Lincoln Park. Here she is, everybody. Carrie Scott.
Hi.
First of all, congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
the first thing I should have said, isn't it?
Expression on your face. Take us through that moment.
So what had happened was my fiance David's sister said she had lost her keys on the Lakeshore Path and she needed help finding them.
Okay.
Which I totally believed.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. So we go and she's, you know, hunting, trying to show us, and then all of a sudden I see rose petals, and then I see someone with a camera come out, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no, exactly how the TikTok audio is. I'm like, this cannot be happening right now. I'm in sweatpants, I'm in his sweatshirt. And so that's where the face came through, and then he got down on one knee, and the sweatpants didn't end up mattering, but I figured I'd bring them on
let's see 'em.
anyways. My pink bubblegum sweatpants.
There
How
we
you
go.
know. This is to verify that it's actually
It's actually
Carrie.
her.
Yeah. From the
I mean, they
yes.
look like really cozy pants.
They're great.
That is what I would probably throw on if I needed to go search for some, would you say keys?
Yep.
On the lakefront on a Sunday morning.
Yes.
So this hits you, I mean, he nailed the surprise factor.
Nailed it. So it happened Saturday morning. Friday night, he said, hey, do you want to go finalize designing the ring? Because we talked about it a little bit. So he totally got me. I had made an appointment to go to a ring shop on Saturday at 6 p.m. I was already engaged. We were already at dinner on Saturday when the appointment was supposed to happen. So he totally got me.
He really took that seriously.
Yes.
Took it really.
That's the best. And like, the thing is, with this look on your face too, this is, you can plan a lot when it comes to an engagement. You can set up a lot, but you cannot plan that. That is an organic, like, just a thing of the moment. What kind of response did this post get? Like, well, talk me through that.
So absolutely. So we're laying on the couch watching TV. We get the pictures back. We're looking at all the pictures, and I'm zooming in on my face because we knew what the reaction was, but we didn't have a chance to actually see them. So I ended up putting it together on TikTok with the sound, oh no, oh no, oh no, no, no. And I'm laughing. I'm like, David, check this out. Like, I'm so good. Look at me on my TikTok. And he's like, that's hilarious. Post it. Woke up the next day, 3 million views, and I had no idea. I thought my friends were gonna see it, and that's about it.
Carrie, this is so funny. I had no idea. Okay, well, the pictures are good quality, but I was like, okay, well, maybe sometimes iPhone pictures and stuff can be this well done.
Yeah.
So there was an actual professional photographer there?
There was a photographer. His name is Alec. I think he's a student at DePaul. He was great. He was wonderful. And so then he ended up sending the pictures maybe like a week later. So we were waiting.
He fully got a photographer knowing that this was going to be so spontaneous that you were going to be dressed up like all these girls who are surprised.
Yes.
You know, they had
What's your fiance's name?
dress.
David.
David, well done.
Yes.
David, you did it, my
You
man.
really did. That's incredible. We got to hear about your backstory too. How'd you guys meet?
Yes.
All the things.
We have a very fun backstory. So my freshman year college roommate got a boyfriend. We were having coffee in 2022, and she said, my new boyfriend has this friend, and he's moving from Denver back to Chicago, and I think you guys would be great. He visited last weekend. And I said, awesome. And she goes, but he has a girlfriend. I go, okay, so that's a no. 8 months later, a sorority sister goes, hey, this guy moved back from Colorado who is from the suburbs. I want to set you up with him. I didn't clock that.
Connect the dots.
I didn't know it was
the same person?
Yeah.
Same person. And then we're at a party a month later, and there he is.
8 months later, no girlfriend?
Serendipitous.
Girlfriend was gone.
Girlfriend was goodbye. We're not talking about her anymore.
No.
So how did you picture your engagement going? What was the expectation? You think, you know, like, you're a little girl, you're dreaming of the day you might be engaged, or knowing that David's the one.
Yeah.
How did it compare
I
to this?
thought I was going to know. I totally thought I was going to know. I didn't think it was going to be in December. My sister had gotten married in November. So I was like, he's going to wait a little bit longer. Nope. The ring was ready, and he's like, I got to do it. So I had thought that I was going to clock it and just know, because he can be a little anxious. And so I thought I was going to be able to pick up on some of the tells. Had no idea.
You were totally surprised.
And he kept it cool that morning.
He was being a little weird, but I didn't think that I was going to I didn't think that I was getting engaged, so I just figured he was just being a weirdo that morning.
That's a really good setup, though. Like, hey, it was my sister lost her keys, right? Can we go?
And she had called us. He put her on speaker, so she was all panicked. Everybody
Well, that's
played.
kind of a big ask by the sister, because you got to act.
Totally,
She
acted, and she did great.
This was a family affair.
Yeah.
This was serious. Were you a tiny bit miffed walking up and knowing that it was your engagement, that you weren't all dressed up? Or were you like, okay, are you chill enough to be like, okay, I'm
Lean
cool with
into
this?
I was cool. I was cool with the sweatpants. I think I was so shocked that, you know, some girls have an idea that they're going to get engaged. I had no idea, so I don't think I was emotionally prepared for the rest of the day. It kind of felt like I was just floating and watching from above. So I wouldn't say I was, miffed at all, but that's something I wish I was able to be more in the moment and enjoy the whole evening.
I love it. Okay, let's talk about the nuptials.
Yes.
You guys have a date.
Yes.
You guys know when and where. All right, don't tell us all the details.
Sure, we don't need Chicago
in your wedding.
Yeah, so we're looking at the spring of 2027.
Nice.
Hopefully somewhere in the city. My parents are pushing the suburbs a little bit, so sorry, Mom and Dad, but I think the city is more fun.
It is fun.
So that's what we're looking at, but we're still venue shopping right now.
Okay, I have an idea. I have an idea already for the the favors or whatever you give. Just give everybody.
Yeah, sweatpants.
Or have them come cash.
Or maybe like a
No, I'm just kidding.
centerpiece.
Yeah.
You pay way too much money to have people come casual.
Yeah, come in a white sweatsuit and a
Carrie
veil.
Scott,
Yeah, right.
David, if you're out there watching,
Congratulations.
Thank
Pop the
you
ring
well
a little
done
bit. You have to pop the
on
ring.
the setup. I'm impressed. Oh,
Amazing.
yeah, the ring.
It's
Bury the
beautiful.
lead.
Oh, I've looked at it a
beautiful
little
ring.
bit.
Yeah.
10 out of 10, David. Buddy.
He crushed it. Brad at Fumford Jewelers.
Okay, there you go.
Old
Free
Orchard.
plug for Brad as well. Thank you for being here, Carrie. That was
Thank you so
fun.
much. This is
Love
fun.
seeing it.
Yeah, let's check out our video.
All right, the new news is next, everybody. I hope you're having a great Wednesday.